Welcome to week 15. This week I want to go over the final piece to project 3, which is the very end. It's the last bullet in the second part. And for this piece, you're going to devise plans for continuous improvement of communications. It gives 2 questions that you should look at in terms of writing out this piece. What suggestions would you take to the PLC to look at next? What data might you need or want to look at? And so basically you're going to do this by stating what your professional learning community group could do and look at based on all the work you've done above that we've gone over the last few weeks in the project 3. So to do this, I want to start out with going back to last week's data and the trends that we identified and the part about comparing and contrasting the visually represent how different teacher practices impacted student success. So when we did that, remember we took the 3 lowest and the 3 highest in terms of who's completed the course, and we kind of looked at what they've done over time. And so one of the trends that we could see in terms of average monthly parent calls that were overdue, except for teacher N, who was kind of like the outlier, the other 2 teachers in the highest group had not missed any parent calls, and when it comes to student calls, only 1 of the 3 missed just 1, whereas if you jump up to teachers K, G, and O, which represented the lowest 3 course completion rates, you see that a bunch of those monthly calls, especially to students, were overdue, and even more in the parents. Then we get over to monthly call attempts per student. The second one should be text, but text contacts. And so we can see that the higher teachers are texting their students more frequently than the teachers who had lower completion rates. So those are some of the trends you should have identified. Now, in order to do this last piece, to devise that plan for continuous improvement of communications, you want to talk about those trends, but you also want to tie it to literature. So I've gone and found you a couple resources that I want to go over in this week's announcement with you, and I'll link them. The first one that I have found is by ASCD, and it is 3 ways to improve parent-teacher communication. And so it does have an author, date, volume, and so forth, so you have all the information you need to do your APA citation. But there are 3 important parts, and I'm not going to go into the details of each, but you want to, 1, be transparent and persistent. 2, you want to commit to consistency and practicality. So the first 2, between persistent and consistency, tie over to the data, and you can connect those 2 because those who did things more regularly as they should on a regular basis had higher results. And so you can talk about that in this last part of the paper. And it talks about making parents your partners. And so in this section, there is a green link to a second article, which I've already brought up, about innovative systems for SMS messaging. It's a very short, brief piece, but there's some additional information inside of it. Especially the outcomes paragraph, if you look at that, basically what it says is that after a long day break for Columbus Day weekend, a teacher at the Global Learning Collaborative took a moment to send a bulk notification message via SMS or text message to the parents of children who were missing assignments. Use this extra day for your child to catch up on missing work, and the text explained, and one parent wrote back and was not aware of any missing assignments. So instantly some communication started going on back and forth. They worked it out and the student got the work submitted. So it does talk about 2-way communication, how it is a give and take. And so there's some important pieces that you can pull out of this as talking points that match up to the data. And there's some other bits and pieces of information linked within this article that you might want to check out. But this should help you as you write that final piece to Project 3.